Hello and welcome to the Fit to Transform podcast, where you learn how to train and diet effectively and, most importantly, how to maintain those results for life, once and for all. I'm Nikias Tomasiello, a transgender training and nutrition coach working online with anyone who's ready for a true lifestyle transformation, anywhere they may be in the world. As a friendly reminder, any and all information provided is for educational purposes only. You should consult with your doctor before implementing any changes to your diet and exercise program. With that disclaimer out of the way, thank you for being here. Now grab yourself a cup of tea or pre-workouts and enjoy. Yo, welcome back to Mini Mindset Musings and thanks for tuning in. The title of this episode is Stuck in a Motivation Rut. So first off, I want to clarify what I mean by a motivation rut. So maybe you used to be really motivated and things were plugging along fairly well, but then lately you keep trying to be consistent. And maybe you even listened to episode 2 of Mini Mindset Musings, which was titled, How Do You Get Back on Track? And every time your consistency lapses, you're applying those suggestions and you are picking yourself back up. But you seem stuck in this vicious cycle where you try to be consistent, you fail, and you have to pick yourself back up over and over again. That's what I would consider a motivation rut. And it's when I would recommend reassessing your goals and priorities. So if you feel like you're stuck in this motivation rut, I would suggest that you consider the following 3 questions. Number 1, do you have a clearly defined reason to pursue your current goal? We all have a goal. It could be fat loss, it could be muscle gain, performance improvements, changing your nutritional habits, and so on. But what we don't always do is take the time to really think about why we want that goal. And to be strong enough to drive you towards accomplishing it, this reason can't be generic. It can't be something like, oh, I want to get healthier. Because what does that mean? This reason needs to be very personal to you. It needs to be meaningful. And I'm going to share something really personal. When I went on my first weight loss diet as a teenager, and I call it weight loss diet because I knew nothing about the proper approach to a fat loss phase. All I wanted was the number on the scale to go down. And the reason why I wanted that was that I wanted to be popular. I wanted to be likable. I had been told that I was, in quotes, too fat to be attractive. And I desperately wanted to change that. On the other hand, right now, my main goal is to build muscle because I find the process fascinating from a scientific perspective. I like to treat myself as a bit of a science experiment because it makes me feel healthy, confident, and thriving with, as Loki would say, glorious purpose. And finally, because I want to build my body up and never tear it down as I was doing when I was in the throes of my restrictive eating disorder that I suffered from, as I covered in episode 6 when I talked you through my story. Now, the second question to ask yourself is, do you have an approach goal or an avoidance goal? An approach goal is about moving towards something that you want. For example, it could be, I want to build more muscle. On the other hand, an avoidance goal is about moving away from something that you don't want. For example, I don't want to gain fat. In both cases, you may follow the exact same approach. You may set your calories around maintenance and you may train 3 days per week. But your mindset while following this process is going to be very different. If you have an approach goal, you'll likely look forward to training and eating because they're adding value to your life. If you have an avoidance goal, you may be afraid of eating certain foods or of missing a training session because if you eat a certain food, it might have more calories, or if you miss a training session, you might burn fewer calories, and either of these two actions may affect your calorie balance and therefore your body fat stores, which you're really afraid or you really don't want to increase right now. So while avoidance goals could be helpful under certain circumstances, I believe that in this particular case, trying to avoid something may not promote the same motivated mindset and the same positive relationship with fitness as moving towards something you want, so having an approach goal would. The final question that I would recommend considering is, do the benefits outweigh the costs? Because every goal has a cost. For instance, the cost of fat loss is a caloric deficit, which in practical terms means that you need to be disciplined and to make compromises over the social events you attend, food choices, and drinking choices. So if you keep falling off track, so to speak, so you're stuck in this motivation rut, it may be because your current goal doesn't matter enough for you to accept its cost. So maybe it isn't the right goal for you at this particular time. I'll give you an example again using myself. I am currently prioritizing muscle growth. So if my coach suddenly turned around and assigned me a caloric deficit, I would have zero desire to pay the cost of this deficit because getting lean isn't my main priority right now. And yet, I went through 2 photo shoot preps. I went through several fat loss phases at this point in time. So I know that I can do it. It's just that I don't care about it right now. I don't want to get leaner. I want to build muscle. It doesn't mean that I'm never going to tackle a fat loss goal again, only that in this particular season of my life, I have other priorities. So if it's the same for you, then focusing on these other priorities is going to serve you better than trying to pursue something that doesn't align with your current values and desires. So to wrap up this episode, if you are stuck in a motivation rut, it's really important to take the time and think about your goals, because I, for one, am an example of this. When I'm really focused on pursuing something, then I'm not really always taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture. I can get stuck in this attempt to achieve a certain goal, and even if I keep falling off track, I keep trying to pick myself back up again and move forward. And it takes me a while to realize that I should actually ask myself, how does this attempt at achieving this goal fit into the bigger picture? Does this goal still serve me right now? And since I have this tendency, that was the inspiration for this podcast episode. And I really hope that it was valuable to you as well. And if it was helpful and you want to listen to another episode where I take a deep dive into goal setting, the science of goal setting and practical applications that you can use to set your own goals for 2024, then I humbly believe that episode number 27, which is titled An Evidence-Based Approach to Staying Motivated, is going to be right up your alley to start 2024 with a bang. Now, thank you very much for watching. As always, you'll find all of the links to connect with me in the show notes. And until next time. Lastly, if you want to support the podcast and help me reach more people, please leave a 5-star rating or review on any podcast platform that you're using. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.